Jazz, why don't we start off with the very first question right here? Why did you seek out help on your fitness journey? Can you give us a little bit of background as far as why you decided to reach out to us, or what you were struggling with? Just let us know.
Um, what I was struggling with, well, why I reached out, I knew I needed one accountability. And then I just needed help overall, like where to start. You go to like a big gym and you're like, do I start cardio? And then you get intimidated by the machines and you're like, well, I don't really know how to use those. And in my experience, I really only know how to do cardio. I didn't know how to really like bench properly or a lot of these exercises that I'm doing now with the weights. So I'm like, let me speak to a professional. And then Wanda told me about the gym, and then I'm seeing her results, and I'm like, oh my god, like she looks great. Maybe I can do the weights, and that's why I reached out. And as I'm talking to you, like through our first encounter, everything sounded like really good because like I said, I don't know form. I needed help with that, and then it's the classes were small, and I enjoyed that as well. So I was like, all right, I'll just start here.
So that's really interesting. I do remember Wandy. She's a very lovely client that we had that recommended. How did you guys know each other actually?
Oh, through my boyfriend.
Oh, your boyfriend. Okay,
Yeah, that's
so
his cousin, his first cousin.
his first cousin. You
Yes.
know what's funny, to this day, I didn't even know that.
Oh,
I
for
thought you guys worked in insurance together.
real? No,
Okay,
that's his
okay.
first cousin. So I seen her a lot in for like family parties. You know how it is, and I saw her. I want to say October, and I was already struggling by October. I knew I needed to do something, and then when I saw her at a party, I was just like, Wanda, like I saw her arm starting to look toned, and she's like, yeah, I joined this gym. And then I said, what gym? And then she sent me the information for Haven. And that's
Okay.
when I joined the page, and I was like, okay.
And you said you were struggling by that point already. You mean you were already trying to hit the gym, doing cardio, or
No, I didn't know where to start.
you didn't know where to start?
No, I knew that I wanted to do something. Like the summer was already hard on me. I have four kids, and then trying to take four kids to like the park or to the beach, it's hard. So I'm like, I'm out of shape. I've been the heaviest in a couple years, and then my birthday came, and I realized I had to size up in jeans. So I'm like, I really need to do something, but I don't know where to start. I had no idea.
What was the biggest push for you? Because you mentioned a couple of things. The summer was hard. You had to size up in jeans. Would you say that there was this one thing that pushed you over the edge, which was like, oh no, damn, like I need to do something, or was it like a collection of things?
It was the jeans and the back fat, if we're gonna be honest.
And why, if you don't mind being a bit transparent and honest with us, why was it that like triggered you and pushed you over the edge to say, I need to go get help?
I wasn't expecting it. I think that when you live your day-to-day life, you don't really notice things until it gets to a certain point. I think at that point, it really hit me. I was not comfortable at all
Okay.
in anything. I was just really shocked at myself because, I just let myself go and I didn't even realize it until that moment.
And so for you, before you said shocked, I was thinking to myself, oh, she probably felt like she had a moment of shock for her. The moment that you saw that you had to go size up, that for you was a indicator that this is getting out of hand. How do you think that things started to get out of hand for you? How was it that you were letting go of yourself?
I was just basically living life. I was just going by day and trying to work, maintain a relationship, and then being a mom, you get just caught up in life. You get caught up in all those different aspects, and you're not really you're that's for me, I'm the last person I take care of. So if I don't get to myself with the well, if I didn't get to myself, let me change that. Then I just did. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow for myself. I'll do this tomorrow. I'll do it next week. This needs to come first. The kids have this, and I have to do this in the house. It was always something coming up, and I never prioritized time for myself.
You're not the only woman or client that's told me this or told us this, that you come last, or at least you used to go. You used to come last, right? And what was always curious to me was that we get so busy with meeting our relationship obligations, our familial obligations, but we forget about ourselves. What do you think is, what would you tell yourself when you found yourself feeling, say, tired and not having fed yourself properly? What would you tell yourself where you would prioritize everybody else instead of yourself versus what do you tell yourself now? Because I know you come a very massive long way. What's the difference between Jazz before we met and who was struggling to Jazz now?
The difference, I'll start next week. Like
Okay.
that's exact. I would literally tell myself that all the time. I'll start next week, or then I'll just kind of push it to the back of my mind. And then when it comes back, I'm like, I'll make excuses for myself. I will constantly make excuses for myself. My boyfriend tells me all the time I'm like a salesman because even like I'll sell him on things.
You saw yourself on things,
And I
right?
sell myself on things because there's
Uh,
sometimes like I don't need to do something and then I'll just like sell him on it and he's like, you know what, that's a good idea. And then he's like,
yeah.
oh, like, but I do that to myself a lot. I self-sabotage myself. Oh, it's okay. We'll start next week, or it's not that big of a deal. Oh, when you start, you're gonna drop like nothing. Like,
Hmm.
so it's just those little things versus what I tell myself now. It's no, get up and do it now. Or it's basically if you don't make this time for yourself now, you're gonna pay for it later. So I'm like, okay, let's get it done now. Like, get it done, get it out the way.
That to me sounds like it's stronger for you. The if you don't get it done now, you're gonna suffer from more negative and worse circumstances down the road. Is that, would you say, what scares you in the morning when you're like, oh, I feel comfortable, I don't want to go, maybe I'll do it tomorrow? Would you say that's what pushes you over the edge to like get into your workouts every single day, the fear of what might happen to you down the line?
Yeah, and like I don't want to be stuck in a negative cycle either. You you put yourself in that mindset where you're like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do this, and it's a cycle. And then if for me, yeah, there's gonna be times I really can't come, and I'm not gonna come, or something does I feel extremely sore. But then when the time comes, the next day comes, Jasmine, like I talked to myself. I said, Jasmine, how do we feel? Can we get it done? Can you at least do an hour, 1 hour, and then you're done for the rest of the day? So I'm like, okay, because I don't want to get back into that cycle where I'm putting where I was before. I
Okay.
don't want that.
Would you say, I got two questions for you here. First, we'll focus on this one. What's harder when it comes to, say, developing and maintaining a fitness routine? Is it like learning how to deadlift, learning how to squat, the actual workout itself? Or is it harder, on the other hand, selling yourself to keep coming to the gym over and over again? What would you say?
Selling yourself to keep coming.
And why is that?
Just because there's some days you don't want to come. Like I mean, that's with anything though. There's some days you don't want to go to work. There's some days you don't feel like waking up. There's some days I don't feel like working out, but I really have to tell myself like this is good. But then it's like that feeling that you get after working out. I think I don't maybe I'm addicted to that because I feel happy. Like I'm like I did that, and then
Absolutely. Yeah.
after months and months of seeing like how far you come, it's like, wow, you know what? I'm happy I keep showing up. And I think about that when I really don't feel like going. I'm like, later down the line, you're gonna thank yourself. So
And I'm about to ask you, what does fitness mean to you? But I do want to make a quick aside that Jazz has a wrestling with her negative self-talk, like we all do. I have it, right? Coach Greg has it, Coach V has it, Yadi, our CSM, our client success manager. Everybody suffers from us facing what we have to do, but us trying to manage the self-talk between our ears. And so, like you said, it's you learn how to deadlift, you learn how to squat, you get a hang of it, right? But mainly the biggest struggle, and I think this is what we've been trying to do as much as we can with you over the what, year and a half that you've been here, approaching 2 years, is to celebrate you over and over again for the successes that you made. For example, your goal reviews, to keep on telling you, for example, oh, hey, this was a win. Maybe this might have not been the best workout, but you did 135 pounds today. Maybe you had a really rough day, but now you push more weight. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So then my next question to you is, because you were now just talking to us about how you've been experiencing all these positive changes across, well, your tenure here. What does fitness mean to you? Because I think that means different to everybody. For some women, it means getting very lean. For other women, it means, say, hedging against future hormonal changes. But for you, Jazz, what does being and staying fit mean to you?
Being my best self.
Could you elaborate?
So, so being my best self is basically, prior to this, I never really lifted weights, and I thought that maybe lifting weights it would make me bulky. It was just like this whole thing. But then now I see lifting weights as I'm really just being my best self. I'm able to some day-to-day things that I couldn't do before, I'm able to do them now. The way my body's changing, some of the muscles that I'm building, I have more muscles now, I feel like, than I did in my early 20s.
Wow.
So that for me is a really big win. I always wanted toned arms, and yeah, my arms aren't 100% toned, but compared to what they were, and even when I was younger, I can see a muscle which I never had. Well, two muscles. So
Two muscles. Let's be
so
exact.
it's a positive. So for me, it's just being my best self.
Okay, okay. You remind me right now of one time you mentioned how you had approached, say, heading into your 30s, and you had thought to yourself, you had scared yourself by telling yourself that, oh, if I hadn't done it up until now, then I don't think I'll ever be able to do it. Do you remember when we had a little conversation? So, what I want to ask you here is, what what makes you so proud of the fact that you are able to do things now in your early 30s, being fitter, stronger, leaner, more muscle, more fit? What makes you so proud about that when you didn't have that when you were in your early 20s? Why is that such a wonderful thing for you?
Um, because now I'm older. It's I'm older now, and when you're in your 20s, it's easier to lose the weight. It's easier to gain the muscle. I'm like, that's my experience. It was a lot easier for me to fluctuate. I could lose like 15 pounds in a month. My body didn't hurt as much at all. It's just like a multitude of things. And then this was before kids. And then it's like after you have kids, the way your body changes, and then after a certain point, there are hormonal changes that I just didn't expect. That now that I'm like, okay, that I'm doing the work and I'm in the gym and I see the change, I'm like, it is still possible. And then it makes me excited too, because I've only been doing this for a year. A lot of people that I see that have been doing it for 5+ years, the way their body looks is really different. So I'm like, you know what? If I stay consistent, by the time I'm 40, I might look even better at 40 than I do at 30. Like it gives me hope. And then it's also like health reasons too. At the older you get, as a woman, your bones become what is that word? I'm sorry.
Osteoporosis,
I see, like they become
arthritis.
dense. And I've read a lot, and they say, heavy lifting helps with that. So it's not just like looking good, it's also feeling good. I don't want to be 45 and I'm struggling with my hips and I don't have mobility. I don't want to be like that. And so for me, that makes me happy, because I'm like, okay, if I keep doing this, I'm like I said earlier, I'll be my best self.
No, I hear you on. And I think that it's important that you mentioned, say, creating more bone marrow density, creating more, say, hormonal regularity, things that are outside of what is the conventional, say, perspective on Instagram, which is, oh, let's get lean, lose belly fat. And yeah, we all want that to some degree. But you're sitting here, you're telling me that fitness for you seems to be a collection of get stronger, build muscle, feel healthier, and also be able to. I remember you told me this once that you were so proud that you went to the pool the following summer.
Yes.
The following
Yes.
summer, right? Can you tell us about that? What happened at the pool that you felt so proud of?
Um, I don't know how to say this without sounding terrible.
No, go for it.
So my daughter, we usually have life vests for the kids, but they were in the kiddie pool, and then we decided to go try a different pool. She jumped in the pool, and I went in straight after her because I realized she didn't have her life vest.
Shit. Okay.
So I like literally went into mom mode, and I jumped in the pool. I grabbed her out, and I was actually able to lift her out, which was a big plus for me because I do not have upper body strength the way I have lower body strength. My strengths are really actually lower body. I was able to get her out and then pull myself out as well, which I've never been able to do. And I was like super excited because I just went whoop, and I was like, wait, I couldn't do this last summer. Last summer I would have to swim all the way to the other end just to use the stairs, but this time I actually got it. So I was like super proud. Those wins make me happy.
Were you scared at all that like her life was in danger, or it was just a matter of extra security for her?
No, I was a little bit scared just because we've been practicing on swimming without the life vest, but she ended up doing really good because she ended up following what me and her dad taught her, which is basically to go under. So by the time I even jumped in, she was almost touching the edge. So I was like, oh, thank God. But in all fairness, the lifeguard, you would think that they were paying attention, but no, he didn't jump in, so I ended up jumping in because I don't play about my kids.
No, of course, yeah, you were just being extra careful. But regardless, let's say your daughter hadn't had those lessons, and say she just went in, she jumped in, you would have been able to save her life.
Yeah.
Versus somebody else who I saw a video the other day. I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's popular on it was trending on online, but this woman has a stroller. And as she gets out the car, the stroller starts like rolling away into traffic, heavy traffic. And she's older, but she starts to run. She slips, she falls, she tries to get up, she can't get. You know what I'm talking about, right? And so we'll put it here in the clip there if you're watching it on YouTube, so you can watch it. And I think I'm not sure if she was able to finally get to the carriage before a car hit her or somebody else, a bystander. But imagine how scary that is. And she didn't look too old. She might have been what, maybe 40 or something like that. Imagine how scary it is to know that should an emergency happen, the people around you wouldn't be safe around you.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it actually, the summer before I started working out, that did happen to me with my son. We were at the beach. I felt terrible. I'm telling you, it was just like a collection of so many things that made me start. We were at the beach. He must have been about 3, almost 4, turning 4. And he loves to play, where the waves are hitting. And he's such a light kid that he stood there and then the wave smacked him down and started pulling him in. I was trying my best to run, and now he must have just been right there. He wasn't too far, but I just felt so like the sand was already sinking in and I'm trying to grab him. So he was already getting pulled in by the wave. Thank God there was a dad there with his daughter, and I had started screaming because I'm like, Carmelo, and the dad ended up grabbing him for me, and that's when I was able to get to him. But I remember that feeling like, oh my God, like if he wasn't there, my son would have really got dragged in. So it's one of those things where it's like you got to do better. I mean, even if it's not for you, which for me, in my case, it is for me, because I never want to feel something like that. It's also for my kids, because I need to be able to keep up with them. That's a very important aspect. I mean, it's a plus towards everything, but it's really important for me to be able to keep up with them.
Absolutely. And I think that it's important for us to have a conversation like this because online, social media, you see mainly, say, influencers peddling like, oh, get shredded, get a six pack. And that's normally what's marketed because to some degree it is eye grabbing, it's attention grabbing. But what's even more important is, yes, we're in this fitness thing. We deadlift, we squat, we show up every single day so that we could tone our legs, tone our stomachs, our belly, but also to save our son's life. For us to have a better, say, more fulfilling relationship, for us to think of something else, not wake up every morning or not dread and fear a visit to the doctor because he's probably going to give you some news that you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important for us to talk about things that aren't just about, say, losing weight and building muscle, although that is still very important. That being said, there's a woman in your life, let's say, right? She's your same age, and she's right where you were a little bit over a year ago, but she's scared and she's intimidated about starting her fitness journey. What would you tell her? What piece of advice would you give her to help her, well, help herself?
To just start. Honestly, I say just start because that feeling's not gonna go away with you sulking in it. Um, you just have to start, and it's gonna be hard at first, but it does get easier. I've seen videos of myself like when I first started, and I remember how I used to feel when I first started. Um, and I'm like, wow, I remember doing the bar for everything. Like my deadlifts were just the 45-pound bar. I could barely do the 45-pound bar for my bench press. And I would just feel sore all the time, all the time. And I'm like, no, you know what? They say it gets a little bit easier. And it actually does. It does get a little bit easier, and you do feel better, but you have to start. You can't just sit there and keep being negative towards yourself. You have to have some positive and be like, you know what, I can do this. Like, it's okay as a mom, or it's okay as a woman to take 45 minutes out your crazy day, because it's not just moms that are busy. Everybody's busy. Everybody has a life, but you need to take time out for yourself. Why not do something for your health?
Why is it okay? Why would you, what she tells you, what do you mean 45 minutes? I don't have 45 minutes. Why is it okay for her to, this nameless woman, for her to carve out this 45 minutes, this 30 minutes for herself?
Because we all need that time. Everybody needs time to themselves, whether you're in the gym or whether you want to take your time meditating. Everybody needs to set a time just for them, something that makes them happy.
Okay. Isn't that, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Isn't that going to take away from, say, your family, from your kids? Isn't that a bit selfish?
Is it a bit selfish? How do I say this? Um, it's selfish not for you to do it, because then you realize that your kids are gonna get older and you're getting older too, and they're gonna end up, no offense, they're gonna end up leaving, and then what? You know? Don't you want to still, I still want to have a life after my kids. Yeah, my kids are my life, but then they have their own lives. So I want to be healthy. I want to keep experiencing life. I want to be able, or what if one of them becomes adventurous? I want to be able to keep up with them. There's lots of kids in sports. You want to be able to try to help them and help train them or keep up with them. I mean, you know how much like sports mom have to carry? Like,
I know.
there's like bags.
I know, Ivana. I know, Jesse. I know. I get it. Yeah.
Or even going to the beach with kids, the wagon, like you have to pull the wagon in the sand. Like, those little moments, I mean, they help you in everyday life aspects. Is it really just for yourself though?
Yeah, I think there's really no argument for, oh, you should never make, if I were to say you should never make any time for yourself because everybody else matters, 100 times more than you, I think that just sounds silly, right? There's no argument for, say, not taking care of yourself, right? And one line that I heard a while ago was, put yourself first and everybody a close second. Now there's times and moments where, say, you gotta jump in the pool and you gotta, throw your kid out and make sure that they're safe, right? But for thinking about it flexibly, if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not gonna be there for anybody,
Nope.
right? And then, like you said, what's gonna happen when kids grow up and they leave? And I'm not a father, I don't have any kids, which is why I'm having this conversation with you. But like you said, what's gonna happen when they do leave? Right? Where's your life? Where's your routines, your daily meaning, your daily fulfillment? Now that the kids are gone and they have their very own, yes, they're going to meet with you, but what are you going to be doing all these other hours of the day, right? So, anyways, that being said, what would you say, how have you personally prioritized this time in your schedule?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't just take one class. I try to make it work where I can, like wherever. And there's some days that I can't make it work, but I try to make it work the next day. I mean,
And how do you make it work? How do you make, say, your 3, 4, 5 workouts in a week? How do you make that happen?
I communicate with their father. Well, with their father a lot. I make sure that the times I can come are usually after work. Like I have everything ready already the night before. I have my pre-workout. I'll just have my day set up. It's really time management, especially being a mom. everything is time management. Like there's reasons why, like I have my daughter's tutorings on Mondays and Wednesdays. So I know like, okay, I have to be at the gym. But then the Wednesdays that I work at work, I'm like, okay, then I have to take a 5 o'clock class. If I don't make it to the 5 o'clock class, I need to make it Thursday to the 5 o'clock class. So it's just really just shifting and time management.
Okay, so strategic time management and communication with your partner so that you can organize your routine in your day to meet all other obligations, including your gym time, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. What if somebody says, I don't have time, Jazz? That's you.
You can make time for like 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be, oh, I need to spend exactly an hour. No, you have 20 minutes. You can do a quick set of squats, like air squats, jump squat. Do something. I mean, it's not that hard to start off with a small workout video. I used to do those a lot. I used to do like 30-minute workout videos at the house before I even joined the gym. And I just, for me, I stopped doing that because I knew I needed more accountability and I wanted to start learning how to lift. I wanted to start messing around more with weights. But when my kids were small, like really, really small, how I maintained for so many years at home workout videos. I even did yoga videos with the kids, especially during COVID, and we were all stuck in the house. I didn't want to lose being active. So I would do yoga videos with them, the frozen ones. And then I did my own little 15-20 minute video that I would see, like get like Jillian Michaels or something like that. I used to do those videos. Or sometimes I would be like, hey kids, we're gonna go up and down the stairs. And we would just go up and down the stairs, up and down the stairs. You make it work any way you can. And those little combinations, those still add up to something. So sometimes when I hear people say I don't have time, okay, well if you can't separate from your kids, fine, then do it with them.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
How many times have I brought my kids to the gym?
Plenty of times.
Yeah, I mean, and I still tell them no, like, this is my time. Like, I need a couple minutes. You guys can do your own thing or you can follow me. It's fine. But this is like, oh, mommy, I need, no. We're not doing that. Just give me a second. Either you follow me or you just chill to the side. And for the most part, they do that. Like sometimes when I'm doing abs, they'll follow me or they'll just chill off to the side and do their own thing.
I think as a parent too, again, I'm not a parent, but at least from what I've heard from multiple women, multiple female clients here, or even male clients, but just clients in general, when you become responsible over somebody's life or lives, now you have to become that much more responsible for your own health and your own ability to be able to take care of them. Because, well, like the cliche goes, if your cup is empty, how are you going to pour into them?
Exactly.
You're not, right? You're going to be overstressed. You're going to be tired. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be lacking in the patience, energy, and the quality of energy and time that you can give to them because you're not giving it to themselves, right? I've got some more questions here for a little bit of a lightning round, but can you tell me, have you ever struggled with no motivation across your time being coached, across your time here?
Yes.
What does that look like for you? What do you do when that happens? Do you rely just on motivation, Jazz, or what do you rely on?
It's happened more times than anything. What that looks like for me is not coming in for like 2 weeks. And then I get comfortable and I'm like, oh, like I'll enjoy not coming in for 2 weeks just because, I'm just like, oh, whatever. How I get back, I tell myself, at least go for one day. If you're not going to make it in for the rest of the week, at least do one day. And then I'm like, okay, fine. I'll go in for one day. I try to show myself a little bit of grace, but, and then when I do come in, it's nice coming in and then I see Jody or I see like Coach Greg or I see you, like, and then I see like the people I work out with, like, I've worked out with Jess a couple times. I work out with Carol. You come in with these people enough, and even they start to hold you accountable, because I remember when I came back in January, I had health issues, so I wasn't in for December. But when I came back January, Curl was like, you left me. So sometimes it's like, yeah, okay, like you, it's just nice to have like that encouragement too, because it's like, okay, we all care about each other in a way. Or like, even sometimes I find myself asking Craig, I asked him the other day, I was like, where's Ari? Like, you just get used to people, and then you see like the smiles, and sometimes I don't even want to come in here, but then I see them working out or going hard, and I'm like, you know what, let me pick this up a little bit, Jad. Like, it's motivating. It's
Yeah.
motivating to just come in, and then, or sometimes I really don't want to do it, and Coach Greg does not care. He has like no sympathy. And he's like, no, you could come on, Jasmine. I've seen you do more. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like,
Yeah.
and he'll bring it out of me. So
I think what's key is that you take like a really big task, like say, it's easier for us to tell ourselves, you know what, just one workout, get it in. You don't have to go every single day this week. You've been out for a little bit. So we just chunk it up into something more manageable, something more attainable. So you come in, you get your one workout in. Then all of a sudden, now you start getting the wheels rolling. Right?
yeah,
And now you want to
yes,
keep on going.
it's
Right?
true.
On top of that, you have the accountability of the coaches, you have the relationships that you're forming with everybody else. How about, have you ever felt intimidated here? You can be honest, right? Have you ever felt intimidated here? Or maybe, or what about some other gyms? What has been your relationship to feeling intimidation, uncomfortable, whether it's this gym or any other gym? How's that been for you?
With this gym, it was the very beginning, but it was also the 6 a.m. class. So it was, I just remember my first day, like seeing like Tanya and Ashma with the hip thrust, or even their squats. Like, they used to push, I mean, at heavy weight. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just here with my little bar. And no, and even some workouts, I couldn't even do a bar for a long time. So I'm just like, okay. But then in that intimidation, it was also kind of like admiration. Because it's like, this was actually the first gym that I've seen women, besides IG, but in person, move heavy weight and encourage each other the way that they do. Because at the bigger gyms that I've been to, it's always guys. The guys push the heavy weight, and I mean, yeah, okay, whatever. But to see a woman do it, it's like, wow, all right. And I never saw that at another gym. So it was, that's what really sold me on this gym. Now I'm like, you know what, I like this a lot. And even now, I mean, Ivana, she pushes me a lot too sometimes, because she's like, oh, come on, Jasmine, like, you could do more. It's just different than if I were to go to a bigger, and there's no shade to bigger gyms, because if that's what you like, then that's what you like, that's fine. That just didn't work out for me. And I do love the fact that I've seen women here, and we're encouraging, and they're built different. Like, they really push heavy weight, and they encourage you to do the same thing at your own pace.
I think different strokes for different folks, in the sense of, if you're someone who knows what to do and you don't need the accountability because you got plenty of self-drive motivation and self-accountability, and you feel totally comfortable at a big box gym, then the self-access, where you just go in, you do your thing, in and out, and you leave, great, that works for you, go for it, right? But if you're someone, on the other hand, who doesn't know what they're doing, feels uncomfortable and slash intimidated, could use the accountability because you got so much stuff going on in your life, then obviously I think, whether you're listening to this in Jersey, right, and you're interested in being a client of ours, or you're some other place in the world and you're considering getting a coach, that's the value of coaching. You have someone there who creates that space, that relationship, and gives you the tools and knowledge to help you get to where you want to get to. And now, I mean, how much were you deadlifting the other day?
I think it was 155.
155.
Yeah.
155. How proud of you? How proud of yourself were you when you did that?
I was super proud, because I couldn't believe I did it. And especially like considering like what it took to get here. Because I'm gonna be honest, in the beginning it was hard with just the bar. And then when I started moving up in weight, I knew I was kind of doing something wrong, because I kept feeling it in my lower back. But then, like you guys were great in coaching because you always give tips. And you and Coach Greg always give a lot of tips so that I don't feel it there, especially since I've pulled my back like twice. So you guys are great in that aspect. So then to finally do 155, not feel it in my back at all, I was like, wow, we're getting places now.
Absolutely, absolutely. What would you tell a woman who isn't going to start their fitness journey, but like a new one, but they're gonna return to an old one? And what I mean by that is, say, someone who's had a big layoff. They were getting it in, right? And then say maybe 3 months, 6 months, years have passed, and they want to get back to it. What would you tell them instead?
What would I tell them? To start. I think I would just say the same thing. And not to, I mean, this is your journey. I said that earlier too. I mean, it's your personal journey. If you take time off, you can go back into it. Just start off easy again. That's it. But go back to it. I'm always gonna, I always tell, I mean, I don't know, I always, even to my friends, and I always advocate. I think starting the gym was like one of the best things that I did. It really, like, honestly, like for my mental health, for my physical health, just in all aspects. There's been times I take a month off, but I'm like, you know what, let's just go back into it. And that's why I would give the advice to somebody else. Just jump right back in, even
Absolutely.
if it's one day at a time.
Absolutely. I'm personally very proud of what you've done, not just inside the gym, but outside the gym. I've seen you grow a lot as a person, as a mother, even, say, as someone who wants to take care of themselves, who's been able to manage the time to carve out the space so that they can take care of themselves. Um, all of us here are very proud of you, Jazz, and I want to thank you for coming on to the podcast and for sharing some pearls of wisdom. So, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.